Okay, so today we're talking about integers and absolute value. So we're going to compare the order of integers and find the absolute value of an expression. So in miniature golf, par is the number of strokes a golfer should take to complete a hole. In the table below, a score of -3 represents 3 strokes under par. Par is 0, okay, in golf. That means you got a perfect score. Oops. So let's take a look. So what does the value of -3 represent? Well, if you said 2 under par, you're absolutely correct. That's 2 under par. Which golfer scores the furthest from par? Well, -3 would be 3 spots away from 0, so -3 would be further away than -2, or 2 under par. And what would you represent 2 strokes above par? Would be +2, like Mario here. Okay? All right. So let's go back to basics. What are negative and positive numbers? A negative number is numbers that are less than 0, and they're on the left-hand side of the 0 on a number line. And the positive numbers are greater than 0, or on the right-hand side of a number line. Okay? And don't forget that 0 represents neither negative or positive numbers. Okay? Let's see. So if we write an integer for each situation. We have 16 feet below the surface. Well, we're looking at the word below. Since it's below the surface, it would be -16. It's a direction, okay? Or 5 strokes over par. That's over 0. So that would be a +5 or +5, okay? Let's look at another one. 23 degrees Fahrenheit below, again, below 0. So -23. 11 inches more than normal. So let's say normal is 0. If we have 11 inches more than that, then it would be a +11 or +11. A loss of 8 yards. A loss, we're losing, so -8. A deposit of $15. A deposit of $15 is when we're adding $15 to a bank account. So that would be 15 or +15. Okay? All right. To graph an integer, you locate the point named by the integer on the number line. You put a point on there, and that's called a coordinate. So for example, if I'm going to graph the point of the coordinate -5, I would put a point right there, and that is how you would graph on the number line. Again, a +4 would be to the right of the 0, and I would put my point at 4. Also remember that we have inequalities. So any mathematical sentence containing less than or greater than is called an inequality. An inequality compares numbers or quantities. When 2 numbers are graphed on a number line, the number to the left is always less than the number to the right. Okay? So for example, -5 and 4, 5 is to the left of 4, so 5 is less than 4. All right. So let's look at this one. So we are to replace the little gray circle with less than, greater than, or equal to make the sentence true. So we have -6, which is here, and -2, which is here. -6 is to the left of -2, so it's less than -2. -2 is greater. 3 and -4. So here's my 3, and here's my -4. Since -4 is to the left of 3, then 3 is greater than -4. So it opens up to the greater number, or it points at the smaller number, okay? So let's take a look at this question. It says, Bethany and her friends played a question and answer video game. Their scores at the end of the game were 1, -5, 0, -1, 2, and 4. Order the scores from least to greatest. When you read a problem like this, make sure you're looking at how they want you to list it. In this case, it's least to greatest. So I could graph a number line. I could plot each one of those points on the number line, which they did here. So 1, -5, 0, -1, 2, and 4. And then so they want least to greatest, I would just start over on the left and work my way to the right. -5, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 4 from least to greatest. Okay? All right. So let's answer these. Write an integer for each situation. 2 inches less than normal. That would be -2. 13 degrees Fahrenheit above average. Above. So that would be plus 13 or just 13. Then we have a deposit of 50. Again, we're adding money to a bank account. So positive 50 or just 50. And a loss of 8 yards is -8. And then replace the gray circle with less than, greater than, or equal to make the sentence true. Let's see. 4 is greater than -4. -1 is less than 1. And 9 is greater than -1. Okay? And then lastly, the recorded highs in degrees Celsius in Niagara Falls from February 21st to the 28th of the recent year are 4, 2, 3, -6, -5, -1, 0, and 1. Order the temperature, this time from greatest to least. Well, we could do a number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we could do -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. Then we could plot them all. So 4, 3, 2, -6, -5, -1, 0, and 1. And then from greatest to least, this time we would be going from right to left. So we would put 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -5, and -6. And that would be our answer. Okay? All right, now we're talking about absolute value. So you can notice on this number line we have 6 and we have -6. And here is 0. If you look, 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units from 0. And -6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units from 0. So both of them have an absolute value of 6. Absolute value is a distance. It's the number of units from 0. So if I write the absolute value of -6, absolute value has the 2 lines on each side of whatever it is that you're looking for. The absolute value would be the distance from 0, so that would equal just 6. Okay, because it's 6 units. We're looking at distance. It's not opposites. So if I have the absolute value of 6, it's not -6, it's still 6. It's just the distance. When it's negative, it's going to the left of 0, and when it's positive, it's going to the right of 0. All right, let's take a look at that. So the absolute value of -4. So if I start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so the absolute value of -4 is a positive 4, or 4. All absolute values will be positive, okay, because it's a distance. All right, so absolute value of 15, it would just simply be 15. The absolute value of -12 would simply be 12. It's 12 units from 0. Now on number 6, you got kind of a problem that we have to work out. First, we want to find the absolute values because they work like grouping. So the absolute value of -8 is 8, plus the absolute value of -3 is 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. And number 7, absolute value of -10 is 10. The absolute value of -6 is 6. And 10 minus 6 is 4. Okay? And that's how you do those. Last thing we're going to go over today is we can use this in algebra as well. We can evaluate the absolute value of x minus 7 if x is -8. So we substitute -8 in for x, and we would end up with -8, the absolute value of -8 minus 7. The absolute value of -8 is 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. All right, let's try a couple of those. Number 10, we have x minus the absolute value of y. X is 8, y is -3. So it would be 8 minus the absolute value of -3, which would be 8 minus 3, which would equal 5. Okay? On 13, we have 6 times. When you have next to each other like this is just like next to a variable, so it's multiplication. The absolute value of negative 3, so 6 times 3, which would give me 18. Number 11, let's move it over here. 2 times the absolute value of x plus 3 times the absolute value of negative 3. So I'm just plugging in what I know. Now it'd be 2 times 8 plus 3 times 3, because the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Then I just use order of operations. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 times 3 is 9, which gives me 25. And the last one would be 3 times x, which is 8, minus 4 times the absolute value of y. Change that parentheses to an absolute value sign, negative 3, and that would be 3 times 8 minus 4 times absolute value of negative 3 is 3, and then we would have 24 minus 12, which would give me 12. All right, if you got any questions, let me know. Have a great day.